I, 28M, had been dating my girlfriend Sarah, 27F, for 3 years. We were one of those couples everyone loves and talks about, cute, kind, and seemingly perfect. She was an amazing partner, supportive and caring. I thought we were going to spend the rest of our lives together, but one day, everything changed. I found out that Sarah had been secretly working on a podcast for months, talking about all the mistakes I made in our relationship, from my insecurity issues to my jealousy. She claimed she was trying to help me become a better person, but deep down, I knew it was just a way for her to vent and get validation from her online audience. I was devastated when I found out about the podcast, especially since she had been keeping it a secret from me. I felt betrayed, not just by what she did, but also by how she could do that to someone who loved her so much. As time went on, Sarah's podcast started gaining popularity, and she became known for her advice, Hollum, where people would share their problems with her, thinking they'd get guidance from someone who had been through similar situations. But in reality, she was just using them to further her own agenda. I realized that Sarah's main goal wasn't me, it was her own personal brand. She used our relationship as a way to build her reputation, and once she got what she wanted, she was done with me. I felt like a mere pawn in her game of self-promotion. The final straw came when she announced on her podcast that I had been emotionally abusive towards her during our time together. She claimed it was the reason why she ended the relationship. But there was just one problem. We'd already broken up 6 months prior to the recording, and our fights were a result of my own insecurities and frustrations. I lost all trust in Sarah after that. I realized that everything she said about me on her podcast was not only true, but also completely fabricated. She had been manipulating me from the start, using me to get ahead with her own career. When I confronted her about it, she just laughed and told me I was being too sensitive. But I knew what I saw, a woman who was willing to destroy someone's reputation for her own gain. After our conversation, Sarah blocked me on all social media platforms, but I didn't care. I was free from the toxic relationship that had been suffocating me. And as for Sarah, she continues to promote herself and her podcast to anyone who will listen, completely unaware of the damage she's done to people's lives. I may not be in a relationship with Sarah anymore, but I'm finally able to move on, because some people are just worth letting go of. I, 25M, used to work at my ex's 28F job at a high-end boutique store in Soho. We dated on and off from college to early 20s, but she cheated on me with one of our coworkers during our relationship. After the breakup, I cut ties with her completely and moved out of the city. But when I found out she got promoted to manager at the same store, I couldn't believe it. The final straw was when she started being super rude and condescending towards me every time we crossed paths. And as for me, I'm doing way better than ever thanks to being righted in a major way. I'd see her walking down the street, sipping on an expensive coffee drink, and feeling like complete karma for how she treated me. But what really took the cake was when she invited all our mutual friends to her new bachelorette party. The night of the party rolled around, and I decided to crash it just to see the look on her face. I dressed up in a flashy outfit and arrived at the club around 1 a.m. As soon as she saw me, her expression changed from carefree party girl to completely annoyed. We exchanged some awkward small talk for a bit before she made a huge scene and stormed off to the bathroom. I followed her because I wanted to see how she'd react in private. When she came out, her face was beet red with rage. And then it happened. She yelled at me, "You think you're so much better than me? You think you can just ghost me and move on? Well, let me tell you something. You'll never be good enough for anyone." But what really got under my skin was when she started listing off all the things I'd done wrong in our relationship, from being too clingy to not taking her out of social events. And then, just as she was about to leave, she told me, "Oh, and by the way, you're fired." She proceeded to call up my boss and have them let me go on the spot, citing that I'd been unprofessional and made a scene at the store earlier in the day. And get this, it was all caught on camera because there were security cameras outside. I immediately called my lawyer, and we filed a lawsuit against her for false termination and harassment. It was a huge settlement, but more importantly, it proved to me that I wasn't as worthless as she made me out to be. The best part? She had to show up in court, wearing the exact same outfit we had on our first date, which just so happened to be the one thing I'd been holding on to for all these years. The judge laughed at her and told her that if she thought karma was going to get her revenge, she was sadly mistaken. I, 25M, was in a long-term relationship with my girlfriend, 24F, Rachel, for 5 years. We were high school sweethearts and had plans to get married soon. She was obsessed with her Instagram followers and would often spend hours taking selfies and posting them online. One day, I found out that she had been secretly flirting with our mutual friend Mike behind my back. At first, I thought it was just a harmless crush, but as the days went by, I saw how much attention Rachel was giving him on social media. She would post pictures of herself and Mike together, and even go so far as to send him direct messages. I tried to brush it off, thinking that she was just being friendly, but deep down, I knew that something was wrong. We started arguing more frequently, and I felt like I was walking on eggshells around her. She would get defensive whenever I brought up the topic of Mike, saying that I was jealous and that I didn't trust her enough. But one night, I caught them together at a party. They were sitting on the couch, laughing and holding hands. I stormed out of the room, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. From that day on, things between Rachel and me fell apart. We stopped talking to each other and eventually broke up. The worst part was when Rachel started posting pictures of Mike online, saying that he had broken her heart too. She would caption them with messages like, "He didn't appreciate me," or "He cheated on me." I was furious. How could she do that? I took a deep breath and decided to take matters into my own hands. I created an Instagram account for Rachel's favorite brand of lip gloss, which we had bought together during our travels. I started posting pictures of the products online, but with one major difference, I made sure to include pictures of Mike in the background. At first, it was just a funny coincidence that people would see him in the distance while they were looking at the lip gloss. But as time went on, people started to notice that Mike was always lurking in the background. They would comment with messages like, "Wait, isn't he Rachel's ex?" or "I didn't know he was still obsessed with her." Rachel was devastated when she found out what I had done. She threatened to report me for harassment and even went so far as to block me on social media, but I just smiled every time I saw her name pop up. It was the perfect revenge. People started to turn against Rachel, saying that she was a manipulative liar who couldn't handle the truth. Mike even reached out to me, saying that he was sorry for what had happened between us and that he regretted flirting with Rachel in the first place. It's been a few months now, and I've moved on from the relationship. But every time I see a picture of Rachel or Mike online, I can't help but smile. It's a reminder that karma is real, and sometimes the best revenge is just letting people know the truth about themselves. I, 28M, have been friends with my coworker Rachel, 29F, since our first day at the company 3 years ago. We worked together on several projects and always made sure to grab lunch together during our breaks. A year ago, I started dating Emily, 25F, who was also a colleague. We were happy, or so I thought. Emily had an affair with one of Rachel's friends behind my back. When I found out, I felt betrayed, and our relationship ended in a few days. Rachel never said anything about it to me, but I always felt like she knew something. Recently, we both got promoted to lead roles within the company, and I was made the office manager, while Rachel became the department head of marketing. At a company party last week, Rachel came up to me with her new boyfriend in tow. They were laughing together, holding hands, and being super affectionate. It was my worst nightmare come true. I tried to act calm, but inside, I was seething. The next day, I sent an email to HR stating that I had a legitimate concern about workplace harassment, citing Rachel's behavior at the party as a prime example. I also CC'd our new company director, who just happened to be Emily's ex-boyfriend. On Tuesday morning, I walked into work and found out that Emily had been fired from her position for violating company policies. It turned out she was making some shady deals with clients on the side while pretending to be a dedicated employee. I also received an email from our new HR manager telling me that Rachel's boyfriend has filed a complaint against me, stating I made a false accusation about him at the party. But little did he know, Emily's ex-boyfriend had been digging up dirt on Rachel for months and discovered her secret affair with his friend. Now, it seems like Rachel is facing some serious repercussions, all thanks to my revenge plan. As I sit here in my new office feeling rather vindicated, I wonder, AITA, for taking matters into my own hands?